South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and Texas are all before Fort Sumter, which is number 85, which is where the Confederate forces first fire on Union forces. And after Sumter, Virginia, Arkansas, and North Carolina, and Tennessee all secede as well and join the Confederate states. Virginia, Arkansas, North Carolina, and Tennessee all secede after Sumter. There are 4 slave states that stay: Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Delaware. All are slave states that stay in the Union. Am I good? 86, Homestead Act gives settlers 160 acres of land for $30 if they'll live on it for 5 years and improve it somehow. Build a house on it. Build a house and farm. 160 acres for $30 if they'll live on it for 5 years and improve it. It's a way to encourage settlements. 87, the Morrill Land Grant Act provides public lands to states to support education. Public lands to states to support education. This is where we get a lot of our state universities. 88, Emancipation Proclamation. Slaves and rebelling states are free. Ends all hopes for a compromise between the North and the South. But if the North wins, slavery will be illegal. Doesn't actually free anyone itself. 89, Battle of Vicksburg gives the Union Army control of the Mississippi River. And Gettysburg is the major turning point in the eastern part of the war. It's just doom is coming for the Confederacy, and the Confederacy is no longer going to try and invade. After Gettysburg, they're just always on the defense. 90, Appomattox Courthouse. General Lee surrenders to General Grant, ending the Civil War. '91, Abraham Lincoln is assassinated by John Wilkes Booth in Ford Theater. And Andrew Johnson becomes president. Andrew Johnson. Please watch your Andrews, because some people will say Andrew Jackson when they mean Andrew Johnson. Sometimes y'all do the other. Just pay attention. 92, Freedmen's Bureau is created to aid newly emancipated slaves by providing food, clothing, medical care, education, legal support, because most slaves are not educated. They are not employed. They do not have money. It is very uneven achievement. It was usually based on the local leaders of that Freedmen's Bureau and whether it was successful in helping them or not. 93, the 13th Amendment abolishes slavery. purchase of Alaska in 1867 is also known as Seward's Folly. William Seward is the Secretary of State at that time. Seward, S-E-W-A-R-D. It was bought from Russia. This kind of shows how anti-expansionist America is after the Civil War. If you think before the Civil War, they're very manifest destiny. Let's expand, let's all move west. After the Civil War, they're not as gung-ho.
Seward bought it from Russia?
Well, like, United States bought it, but he negotiated it. Secretary of State does a lot of the foreign relations. A lot of people criticize him because they're like, what do you do with Alaska?
Doesn't it have oil?
Yes. But it's not discovered yet at that point. 95, Radical Reconstruction. It's also known as Congressional Reconstruction, and it is much stricter than Presidential Reconstruction.
Wrong class. Oops, my bad.
It's like, I hope he's not bringing bugs in here. I don't do bugs.
Yes, whatever.
I don't do bugs at all.
You would have failed that project.
96, Andrew Johnson is impeached because he violated the Tenure of Office Act. He's impeached in the House, but found not guilty in the Senate. Guilty of crimes. We did talk about this. He wanted to fire the Secretary of War, Edwin Stanton, but Congress wanted to keep Stanton in because Stanton was working as a spy for Congress and the radicals. And so they passed a law quickly through Congress saying that if the person has to be approved by the Senate as a presidential appointment, the president can't fire without Congress's approval. Johnson fires him anyway, so he's found guilty of violating. 97, 14th Amendment grants citizenship rights to former slaves. 98, the Transcontinental Railroad is completed in 1869. Connects the entire country by railroad. It's the first Transcontinental Railroad. There are many after a while. This is going to help boost the economy. Can send goods faster, easier, cheaper. Number 99, Standard Oil is created in 1870. This is headed by Rockefeller. They own 95% of the oil refineries. It's one of the first multinational corporations. It is the biggest trust for a long time. Number 100. Knights of Labor are created in 1869. They were first a secret society to become very public in 81. And they welcome all workers, skilled, unskilled. They do not discriminate against most races. Every now and then they go through a period of time where they discriminate. Not very many. 101, Wyoming gives women the right to vote. That's the first state to grant universal suffrage. So they can vote in state elections, not national. 102, Battle of Little Bighorn. It's also known as Custer's Last Stand. 2,000 Indians are killed. Oh no, just kidding. 2,000 Indians killed 250 soldiers. Sorry, I'm going to set it backwards. 2,000 Native Americans killed 250 soldiers because the United States was trying to force the natives off of their land and onto reservations. Are there any questions about that page? Nope. Page 12. Sweet. Okay. 103. I mean, we can switch to like other topics if you want to keep going. Election of 1876. This is the Hayes-Tilden debate. Tilden had only won 184 electoral votes, and he needed 185 to become president. So it goes to the House. We get the Compromise of 1877, and Hayes is going to win. There were some contested electoral votes at the end that go to Hayes because of bad voting in the South. Tilden feels cheated. No. When I run for president, if I lose by one electoral vote, I'm assassinating them.
Whoa.
Miss, you are gonna run for president.
I'll delete it. I'll delete it.
But we got that on
Whatever.
camera.
I'll delete it.
No, we didn't hear that.
But we got that on camera.
I got people.
She said,
I
we
got
didn't hear that.
I meant like his. No, I'm just kidding. 104, a Great Railroad Strike of 1877 is the first major railroad strike. The National Guard is called out. Chief Joseph surrenders because he and his tribe were trying to run to Canada so they wouldn't have to go to a reservation. But after 1,700 miles, they just surrendered. They didn't make it to Canada. 106, James Garfield is assassinated by an office seeker, and Chester Arthur becomes president.
Oh, he was one of those ending in zero presidents.
107, Booker T. Washington founds Tuskegee Institute.
What is that?
It is an all-black college. It was mostly focused on agriculture when it was founded. Booker T. Washington, when he founds it, says that education and training